Hello and welcome to the latest Hornby Magazine layout update. We've got an extended format for this month's edition to bring you more from the model railway scene, including 3 updates from the Hornby Magazine team, a few teasers from what to expect in the next issue, and the latest news and more.
As you can see, we are all in our separate workshops for this video to maintain social distancing, and we hope all of our viewers are staying safe and well. It's been a busy month for all of us as we've been working away on our projects across all the scales. I've been working on our Gage layout Thorpe, which moved to my workshop earlier this year, and you can see more on that later in this update. Mark has also been progressing with Carriages, his double gauge terminus project, while Mike has been busy indoors and outdoors, making the most of the good weather during April, continuing his work on the Garden Railway and adding to its roster too. We start this video with a tour of Mike's O-Gauge Garden Railway, Western Banks, and I'll hand you over to him now.
Hello and welcome to the Hornby Magazine workshop. You join us today on the Garden Railway level of the workshop. So we've got the O-Gauge test track just above us here, and then down at the bottom here is the storage yard for the Garden Railway. The storage yard, it's got 2 main loops which have got points on either end, so you can get a series of 4 trains in those. We've also got the first of the dead end sidings laid, and then we've got another 2 sidings which will be laid in here at a later date as well. So there's plenty of space in the storage yard. We've got nice long goods trains, nice long passenger trains, everything's DCC controlled, so I think the best thing to do is to get outside in the sunshine and start showing you around. Now in the storage yard, like I said, we've got a series of trains set up ready to go. We've got a Western, we've got a High-Mech, we've got a nice long rake of HUO hoppers there. We've also got another Western at the back there as well. And then in the foreground here we've got a couple of the shorter trains for the Garden Railway as well the new DAPL 14XXs with an auto coach, and also a Helgen Class 128 which are just fitted with sound as well. So the first section of the Garden Railway, as it comes out of the back of the garage, it comes down this gradient here on my left, where we've got the double track main line, and then you've got a goods loop in the foreground as well. Now that goods loop here, it's able to hold a 20 wagon train with loco on the front as well. Like I say, it's quite a gradient from the garage all the way down to the bottom of the garden, so it's about 1 in 100 all the way down, and that gradient runs for 75 feet from the back of the garage to the decking in the garden. See, I've got a Western just coming past me here on a passenger train, and the trains are quite happily go up and down the gradient with a nice 7 coach train on the back, which all looks really rather good. As I mentioned as well, everything's DCC powered, so all the locos have got decoders in them, quite a lot have now got sound in them as well. And I'm working my way through detailing and weathering all the rolling stock as well. So for example, the rake of hoppers that are next to me here, I've started at the front end of the train and I'm working my way through the weathering of those. This is one of my favourite scenes on the Garden Railway. It just looks brilliant with the trains rolling down the gradient behind me here. It's really nice when you get 2 crossing as well. So the foundation of the railway, it's based on 75mm fence posts which support the railway deck, and then on top of that there's a softwood frame. That's all being heavily treated with fence treatment, so to make sure it's all watertight. And then on top of that there's an 18mm plywood deck, and all that's then being overlaid with roofing felt to make sure the weather stays out of the timber and stops it rotting. So we're now on, it's 2.5 years since I started working on the layout, and everything's doing really well so far. No complaints. The track's reliable, the foundation's reliable, everything's working well. So this is one of the most complete sections of the Garden Railway here. We've got a slate wall that is built at the bottom, and then on top of that we've got a series of the knock ready-made wall castings as well, and they're made out of hard foam, and they've withstood the first winter really well as well. And obviously you can see here the plant life started to bed in a bit more here as well, so this is one of the first parts we actually planted down this end of the garden. So it's given a nice background for the trains to run past. Now the intention is when everything's all grown and settled in and bedded in how we want it to be, that the whole railway will look like this. It will really look like part of the garden. So here we are now on the other side of the short tunnel. The short tunnel actually goes underneath one of the rose bushes to make sure that actually the rose bush didn't fall over the top of the trains all the time. So that short tunnel brings you out onto one of the last sections of the plain double track main line here. Now, one of the interesting things about the track plan on this is actually, even though it looks like a double track main line, it is actually one single circuit that goes all the way around the garden. so it's just one continuous loop. There's not actually a double track main line here. So here on this section, again, we've been planting out behind the railway, and I've also got more of the knock walling in front, and that's giving a nice scene for the trains to run past here on top of the decking as well. So just behind me, where the Western's just going across now, is one of the more interesting bits of the rail, which we're going to have a look at that next, and that's the junction for the return loop. So here we are at the start of the return loop. Now this is the more interesting part of the layout, because I had to put quite a lot of electronics underneath the railway here to make sure all this point work would work for everything we wanted it to do. So the point motors are DCC Concepts cobalt motors. There's a combination of 2 right-hand points from Pico. Then there's one of their double slips, and then there's a left-hand curve point and a right-hand curve point leading into the sidings where the high mech is there in the middle. Now underneath all this, like I said, there's DCC Concepts cobalt point motors. Now they're operating the points and providing the frog switching for each of the 4 main points. There's then a hex frog juicer, which is powering the double slip and also the frogs on that. And there's also then, to allow us to have a double-headed working or a DMU working across into the points there as well, there's also a reverse loop module under the section just after the double slip there as well. Now that means that we can have all kinds of permutations of operation happening here as well. Now the reason for all that electronics is again because this is a single circuit layout where the left-hand line now crosses over the right-hand line, which is actually the same track, so polarity has to change whilst trains pass through this section of point work. So the return loop here at the end of the Garden Railway, this is where the main part of the work's been going on at the moment. So over the last weekend I've laid all the inner circuit here, and also the loops over the far side as well. They've all just been freshly laid. I've got all the bonding wires to do on those to actually join those tracks and make sure they have the continuous reliability of all the others. And now it's a 10-foot diameter circle here. So you've got the outer main line, which is the single track main line running right around the outside, going back to the points I showed you just a minute ago. And there's now space with these new loops in here. We've got space for more trains to be out on the railway as well. So actually, including those that are running, we could have up to 6 trains out in the garden at any one time now. So that's made it much more appealing to run the layout as well. So like I said, this is where the bulk of the work is happening at the moment. So the next job here, as you can tell, needs a lot of landscaping to bring it all together. We've got some plants coming, got rocks coming, start turning this into a rockery to make it look really nice down this end as well, and start again to blend this part of the railway into the garden. So here we're looking all the way down the garden, down the gradient on the left hand side of the shop, and over in the far right hand corner you can just see the Western coming around the return loop at the bottom of the garden. Now like I said, the gradient on the left hand side here is 1 in 100 all the way down here, heading down to the decking. All the track work is Pico code 124 bullhead rail. It's all been laid on top of the plywood bed, which has been covered with roofing felt as well to keep the weather out. Now all the sections of rail are all bonded together as well, so each section of rail has got a tiny little joining cable linking it together to the next one, so that maintains consistent power all the way down the line. So we can't rely on fish plates outside to conduct electricity, because they just wouldn't be able to maintain consistent and reliable power feeds there. I can see the Western just climbing up the bank now. It's got a 7-coach train on the back of it, and it's no trouble at all for it with its twin motors in there. And this loco as well, we'll show it in a little bit with some sound on as well. It's also got a Zimo sound decoder in it as well. And one of the things that's taken a little while with the Garden Railway is waiting for all the plants to establish themselves as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that are still quite fresh in the garden in terms of growth, and we've got a bit of waiting to do for all those to actually grow to the height we want them to be. Ultimately, all the bushes and plants in front of the railway there, they'll cover the track bed in, so actually it won't stand out quite as much as it does currently. So what we'll do now, we're going to get some more of the trains out, we'll get some of the sound on, and we'll start showing this railway actually running as well. April has been a busy month for Gage followers, and particularly with Dapple as well. At the start of the month it released its eagerly anticipated Great Western Railway 14XX 042 tank, which has now been joined by the new Gage BR 8-ton banana vans. Now both of those have been reviewed in full in the June issue of Hornby Magazine, and regular readers might remember that actually we reviewed the Dapple 14XX originally back in HM 150. Now that was a pre-production model, and the version we've got here, that's the final finished production model, the same as what you can buy from the shops. So Dapple hasn't just released those models, it's also announced some news as well. So they've planned a new production run of its BR 16-ton mineral wagons for Gage, and they've also confirmed the details on their new Gage model of the popular conflat wagons, and they're going to be available with a choice of GWR and BR style containers.
In double Gage, KR Models has continued working on its CAD drawing work for the Fell diesel, as well as the artwork for its model of the English electric gas turbine prototype, the GT3. A new engineering sample is now awaited by KR Models of the GT3. Hornby has continued its development process too by showing the livery sample for its Class 390 Avanti West Coast liveried Pendolino, as well as the first stereo 3D printed samples of its LMS Coronation Scott Carriages. The next new tool arrivals from Hornby will be the Mark III sliding door carriages in May, followed by the first of the GWR Large Prairie 262 tanks in June. Hornby is also launching a competition to create an NHS theme livery for a Class 800 unit, and the winners will be judged by yours truly, Mike Wild. Full details, of course, are at hornby.com.
So Bachmann has updated us on production of its new models and has said that its new double Gage models of the Class 117 and 121 DMUs are now expected to arrive with retailers in June, and that's together with the N-Gage models of Thompson Carriages, which we understand are going to be in the same container.
Back in Gage, Hellion has also released the first CAD drawings of its Mark II carriages, while in N-Gage, Revolution Trains has been working through a series of projects, including CAD drawings work for PFA container flats and more.
Okay, so that brings us up to speed with the latest news for the time being, but don't forget to check in on keymodelworld.com for the latest news as it happens, and also if you're a subscriber to the magazine then you can get access to the latest issue in digital format as well there, and that's going to be available on Key Model World from May the 7th. So now next we're going to head over to Richard's workshop to get up to speed with how he's looking after our N-Gage test track, Thorpe.
Thanks for that, Mike. I got down here as fast as I could. So hello and welcome to my workshop, and here it is, the N-Gage layout Thorpe. Right, now Thorpe itself is 8 foot 4 inches one way and 3 foot 4 inches the other way. Of course it's one of the magazine exhibition layouts, and in good old N-Gage. Now the purpose really was to showcase what you could do. You could have quite a big mainline layout in quite a small space. So this, for example, would go in most people's spare rooms, and dare I say, you could probably stick it under a spare bed. So as you can see, there's a giant divide in the middle of the layout. This is where the layout divides in two and literally folds in half, ready for storage or transport to an exhibition. It originally started as a double main line with the main shed area and all the sidings. That was quickly upgraded. Another 2 main lines were added, and then of course behind the scenes you've got the original 8-lane sidings, and then of course the 6 further ones which were then later added. This results in it being a very, very active mainline N-gauge railway, and the stock is forever changing. For a very small sort of scenic area, it does make it a very interesting layout to stand and watch, especially at a show. So the control system for Thorpe is a gauge master system. All the points have been motorised, and it is controlled by its very own switchboard, which was made by DCC Concepts. Now, I don't plan on tinkering with any of the wiring while it's under my control, because as most of you know, I don't like wiring at all. So that bit works perfectly, and it's staying like that. So the reason I have Thorpe is not just because I want to have a layout to play with, although that was a very big reason. Another one is it does need a bit of TLC before it goes back on the exhibition circuit when we're all allowed back out after lockdown. The nature of any layout being in storage for a long time, things like the track needs a good bit of TLC, which I've been spending the last few nights doing. So as you can see, the layout runs, touch wood, fairly well. One area of my big focus will be the shed area. Doesn't work particularly well. Now I've track magic that and track rubber that to death. So I think that's going to need a bit more attention. Some of the droppers I think have come out. So one of the big areas I think this layout lacks is the original scenic area is actually quite small now, especially now the layout's been expanded so much over the years. So I plan to take the backboard down and add a giant semicircle and basically just improve that. Increase the scenic size, I think, massively, maybe almost by a third in some areas, and I suppose go from there. I'd also like to spend a lot of time getting the shed area working, including the turntable, because at present it doesn't. So one thing I'd like to do with the layout is actually get some of your opinions. So if you have any suggestions that you'd like to see on Thorpe, do get them down in the comments and add them to the comment box below, because it'd be really good to see what you think we should do to it. Stock-wise on the layout, I have endless drawers and drawers of N-gauge stock all the way from the steam era. As you can see, we're running a bit of a BR green diesel era today. And then, of course, being a Modern Image fan myself, I've stolen the Hornby Magazine collection of Modern Image N-gauge, which we'll probably see later on. I will be filming a running session for the layout for later in the month, so make sure you come back and check that out very soon. All the progress for Thorpe will be well documented in the Staff's Project section of Key Model World, the new Hornby Magazine website, so make sure you check that out below, and again, the link to that will be in the description. So hopefully you've enjoyed that little tour of Thorpe. As you can see, it's a very nice pocket layout. I look forward to reading your suggestions on what to do with it next, and hopefully you enjoy the process of improvement, and then fingers crossed we'll see it on an exhibition very soon. Right, I'm going to hand back to Mike now. Cheers.
Next we're going to go and join Mark and catch up on the latest progress on his double O gauge layout, Carriages. Now, long-term magazine followers might recognise this Southern Region branch line terminus. It was originally built for one of our 24-hour challenge features in 2016. So over to you, Mark.
Hello and welcome to my little lockdown workshop. I just thought I'd update you as to what I've been up to over the past few weeks during this exceptional period that we find ourselves in at the moment. Now, in the background here is a small section of layout which the more observant amongst you might already have worked out is our BR Southern Region branch line terminus, Carriages, from several years ago. I use it as a test track, but I'm also slowly reworking it as well. Just recently added some working dapole semaphore signals, the southern type, and have a number of other accessories to contemporise the layout and bring it more into the British Rail Southern Region diesel era, which I'm a big fan of, as you may well be aware. And that actually ties in really nicely with something I've been working on recently, which is a 4mm scale model of Eastleigh Depot mess hut. Now, This is a laser cut building designed by Tim Horn several years ago, and it's on the layout here. You'll see it shortly on the video, and you can also follow a full step-by-step guide to building and completing the model in the June 2020 issue of Hornby Magazine. All the details are in there in the staff projects section of the magazine. But I've got to say, I really enjoyed it. It was great fun to build. It took several hours, but it's gratifying and it looks great, and it blends in beautifully with other brands of buildings as well. And one day, hopefully, will grace a much larger project. More on that in the June issue of Hornby Magazine. Anyway, enough of me rabbiting on, because I think you want to see the fun stuff. We'll fire up the Class 33 here and get something moving.
Welcome back to the Hornby Magazine workshop. As with the news, new arrivals are focused on O-Gage this month, but we're expecting some exciting new releases for double O-Gage during May. Now, first up in our roundup of new releases, we've got the Dapple 14XX 042 tank. Now, this super little tank engine was first reviewed as a pre-production model in HM 150, but now that the final production models are in, we've given it the once-over in this latest issue. We've also put together a video of the sound installation process for this little tank engine, which is available for Hornby Magazine subscribers on our brand new website, keymodelworld.com. Joining the 14XX from Dapple is the BR 8-ton banana van as well. I've been on a bit of a wagon purchasing mission. Now, the banana vans you see here are both lettered for Fife's traffic, but Dapple is also producing one with Gage lettering. You can read our full review in HM 156, which is on sale from May the 7th. I didn't really have enough HUAs in my block train for the Garden Railway, so I bought another 4 to extend that rate to 17 vehicles. Now, having done that, I think I might need another 3 to make it up to an even number. Like I say, we've got 3 more wagons to talk about here as well. So we've got the Parkside Models Trestle wagon that I showed in layout update 4. That's now complete and fully painted. It's just waiting to go through the weathering process. It's already been out running on the Garden Railway as well in the long goods. And that's been joined by a second BR pipe wagon. This is the wagon that we actually built for HM 155 to show the building process involved in an O-Gage wagon kit. And in the latest issue, HM 156, we're going to go into detail about how I actually paint those wagons as well to give them the finish that you see on these here. Completing the lineup on the wagons here, we've got the French doored 16-ton mineral wagon that I built as well, and that's just now been through the final weathering process to bring it up to the final standard where it's ready to go out in the garden and just be part of the rake of wagons. Okay, so as you might expect, as I seem to have a bit of a thing for building wagons at the minute, there's a few more projects on the go on the workbench at the moment, including a Just Like the Real Thing GWR Fruit D, which we joined the freight and parcel stock for the layout. So I've got a couple of other things I've been doing. I've installed digital sound in a Helgen O-Gage Class 50 for the digital control feature in HM156, and you can see the results of that in a separate video here on YouTube. Plus I've also been working on weathering one of my pair of Class 20s to improve its appearance, and you can expect more on that in the near future.
That brings us to the end of this layout update, but there is much more to come in the June issue of Hornby Magazine. You can see the cover here, and it will be on sale from May the 7th, 2020 at grocery stores and newsagents where they are open. You can also order it direct from Key Publishing Warehouse for delivery to your door. Full details are in the description.
So we had planned a Hornby Centenary special issue for the June issue, but that has been postponed until our October issue due to the current coronavirus situation. But don't worry, we've got plenty of exciting content in store for you in the June issue anyway. A definite highlight is a brand new and up-to-date feature on Simon George's epic O-Gauge model of Heaton Lodge Junction. It's billed as Britain's biggest model railway, and this 200-foot long 7mm scale layout is outstanding in every way. We had a brilliant day with Simon photographing and recording the layout for the first of a series of features on it in Hornby Magazine.
Plus, Mike couldn't resist taking along his sound-fitted model of D1013 Western Ranger, which took a turn on the layout at the head of a long MGR train.
Insert Western MGR shot here. Also in the June issue, we visit the charming Ambleton Vale in Gage, Gorpet and Blimey in double O gauge, show you how to detail Hornby Stanier 8F and Patriot models, deliver 30 train formations for the Class 33s, and we show you how to make a spring meadow, explain the basics of brush painting and much more too.
If that's not enough, there will be extra content on keymodelworld.com, including a guide to adding numbers and nameplates to locomotives, exclusive videos of Heaton Lodge Junction and Ambleton Vale, a video sound guide for the DAPL 14XX, and much more.
We hope you've enjoyed this latest Hornby Magazine layout update, and if you have, then please click the like and subscribe buttons.
Join us next time where we'll have more exciting model railway content planned. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.